Okay, in today's video we are going to talk about some of the expectations that come with writing a paper in MLA format. This is the standardized format we're going to use for our essay writing. Some of the reasons behind that are it allows us to be free from the burden of formatting. So instead of deciding, how big you want the font to be or what kind of crazy font to use or how to adjust the margins or how to space things, we have kind of this one very simple, very straightforward way of formatting papers that we're all going to conform to, at least in this class. And you're probably going to conform to this as well if you keep moving on into higher education, especially if you're in the arts or the humanities, including English literature. This is the format of papers that is typically used, MLA. So instead of, kind of limiting your freedom, it actually gives you more freedom in the areas where it counts, because you're not spending that much time, worrying about the types of fonts you're using, and you're going to be able to spend more time on the actual content of the paper. And it will allow your reader to pay complete attention to this content as well without getting distracted by complicated formatting or colors or different fonts. So let's go over some general guidelines. So this will be the first thing we talk about in terms of MLA formatting. Just some very basic expectations about how to structure this paper. The first is you want to type your papers in MLA format, and you want to do this on standard white 8.5 by 11 inch paper. That seems pretty standard, but it needs to be mentioned because you don't want to, print out an MLA formatted paper on some crazy neon colored paper. That just makes it a lot easier for your reader to interact with, a lot easier for your reader to read. So unless I ask for you to do something specific and different, which I may do at some point, the general guideline is you just want to do it on standard white paper. You want to double space the text of your paper always. And you want to use a legible font. So in this class, some good fonts to use are Times New Roman, Arial, and Helvetica. Whatever font you use, MLA recommends that the regular and italic fonts contrast enough so that they are recognizable from one another. So if the font style it's not recognizable, whether it's in italics or in sort of regular formats, then that's a font you definitely don't want to use. Font size should be 12. So make sure you get this one because on Google Docs, the default font size I believe is 11 when you get into a document. So you want to make sure that you move that to 12. Leave only one space after periods and other punctuation marks. Some of you might have learned that this is 3 spaces after periods, and that's no longer the case, at least not in this class. So please pull it back to only 1. Set the margins of your document to 1 inch on all sides. This might be the default way it is on your Google document, but just double check anyway. Indent the first line of paragraphs 1/2 inch from the left margin. So that's basically just using the tab key. So when you're starting off a new paragraph, just hit the tab key. That's typically going to be about 1/2 inch. Again, double check maybe the first time or two, but it should be set that way in terms of your default settings. So just hit the tab key when you're starting a new paragraph. And you also always want to create a header when working with MLA formats. So what you need to do for this is go to Inserts, and we're doing this based on Google Docs. And it's probably pretty similar with other programs, but you go to Inserts, go all the way down to the header option, and that's going to create this header up at the top of the page. So you see you have kind of this area where you can type and it doesn't affect, what else is on your paper. And in this header, you want to do your page numbers with numbers that, move consecutively throughout your document. And you always want these to be in the upper right-hand corner, 1/2 inch from the top and flushed with the right margin. So that means aligning it to the right. And you can do that very easily by clicking on the right Align button. As far as the 1/2 inch from the top is concerned, I found that pretty much 2 hits of the Enter or Return key basically does that for you. So another way of looking at that is, just hitting Enter twice, and you'll be at that 1/2 inch point. You also want to type your last name immediately before your page number. Type your last name immediately before your page number. And as far as doing page numbers are concerned, if you just type the number 1 for your first page, what's going to end up happening is when you have a second page, it's also going to be number 1. Because the idea behind the header is that it repeats throughout your entire document. So your last name will stay there and your page number will stay there. But you can see we have a problem here because that number is repeating as well. It's not going to page 2 automatically because you typed page 1 on the first page. It's also going to look like page 1 on the second page. That's a common problem that students run into. But there's a very easy way to fix that. Instead of actually typing a number, what you actually want to do, again, is go to Insert, scroll down to Page Number, and this is where you can select a repeating page number. Now, oftentimes they'll have you choose this one. Again, we're going by Google Drive standards here. It's the one in the upper right-hand corner of the pullover menu. And you'll see that this one accounts for having a title page. We'll usually have title pages on our MLA documents. So if you have a title page, you want to select this one because you'll see how number 1 starts on the second page, right? Because we don't actually want page numbers on our title pages. If you don't have a title page, then feel free to select this one. But usually we'll have title pages, so you want to select that one in the upper right-hand corner. Click that, and your pages will actually be numbered consecutively.